Some programming languages are excellent at working with web, using them for a web page, and some are not as good, some are great. What makes the difference? Why is it important to use a language that's optimized for web, or at least an interpreter that's optimized for web? So what's really making the difference here is, one of them is how can you do your output of all your tags and static information? Because almost always you're going to have some static information. Most of the time you're not going to generate everything from your program. You're going to be wanting to change a few things, and the rest of it's going to be a static page. Do you really want to put everything inside of some type of a print statement, print line, console out, all that type of stuff? Or is there a way to just say, hey, I'm going to grab this entire page here, rename it, for example, PHP, rename it to a .php file, have the server recognizes it, now it goes through a PHP engine and only spots where I open up for code or actually run for code. It makes it a lot more efficient to code that way, and that's why PHP is a premier language for dynamic server-side coding. The other thing too deals with the responsibilities of the server in the HTTP protocol are to send during the HTTP response. Send certain headers to the browser. That's information like content type, how long the content should be, when does it expect the connection to terminate, what should it be opening this with, what am I actually sending to you, browser. That's what it's saying in those headers, and that's expected. It's an invalid response without those headers, and the browser won't even know what to do with it. So it's expecting well-formed headers, and those are, for static files, they're the responsibility of the server to provide. The server itself provides those. But when it's using a CGI, which means Common Gateway Interface application, to produce your output, then you're dealing more with the CGI protocol as well, that delegates that responsibility for at least some of the headers to now go to the CGI executable, which is where we're going to take a look here and see just what does this look like here. So this is, well, it's a basic text file, right? It's labeled a .php up here, test.php. Well, let's take a look at what that looks like whenever I run it in PHP. Remember, we have to open up the code block, and we don't have anything opening that, which means everything is being dumped right down here. This is our output. It just dumped it, just like an HTML file. But now let's take a look at that, how the CGI interpreter will look at that. That's the CLI version of it. Now, what about CGI? How does that respond to me? See, it's got headers. And without those headers, my stuff won't work. Do I want to produce those manually? And really, I should have a lot more on there than that. I did not access that. I did not call that from a server. A server would have also put in various environment variables to that executable that would have been used to produce additional headers. And that would have been very useful to have had. But hey, we didn't activate it from a server. We just activated it from the command line, but we can already see it's going to have at least a header up there. Without that, it's not in compliance with CGI protocol, which means the server is not going to be able to produce an HTTP compliant output. So unless I want to do all of this manually and manually type in print each of my tags and encode all of my quotes for all my attributes within my tags and go through all that, I think that it's better off to use an optimized CGI interpreter for that.
Thank you for watching.